It was 6:15 a.m. when the rumble of my old John Deere echoed through the still air of Willow Creek Estates, a quiet, manicured suburban neighborhood that had never seen a tractor before. The birds weren't even awake yet when she appeared. From across the cul-de-sac, robe flapping, coffee mug trembling with righteous fury, HOA, Karen stormed out of her pristine white house like a suburban general heading into battle. "Excuse me, you can't do that here," she shouted, marching toward me like the noise itself had personally insulted her. I turned off the engine, the silence almost deafening compared to the growl of the tractor. "Morning, Karen. Just tilling a bit of soil. Gonna grow some corn in the back." Her eyes went wide. "Corn? This is residential property, not a barnyard." To her, I wasn't a man reclaiming a patch of forgotten earth. I was public enemy number one. I had moved from the countryside just 6 months ago, and my small garden had grown, let's just say, ambitiously. The empty half-acre behind my home had become my sanctuary, a mini farm with chickens, a few rows of vegetables, and now a small tractor to help keep things running. But for Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, my way of life was a crime against the neighborhood's aesthetic standards. That morning, she didn't stop at yelling. Within hours, she had filed 3 complaints with the HOA board: noise violation, zoning violation, and something called visual disruption. By noon, I had a letter taped to my door demanding I cease agricultural activities immediately. I'll admit, I was angry, but I wasn't about to let Karen's obsession with neighborhood tranquility kill my dream. So I did what any proud country boy would do. I doubled down. The next morning, I started even earlier, 5:45 a.m., and waved to Twind. Karen as she peeked through her blinds, phone already in hand. I knew the complaints were piling up, but I had no idea that this petty feud was about to turn into a local media circus and change my life forever. Because when Karen called the county to shut me down, she accidentally set off a chain of events that would end with me standing on stage, holding a golden plaque, and shaking hands with the county commissioner. And it all started with that tractor. The following Monday morning, I was midway through mowing the back lot when a white county truck pulled up to my driveway. The door swung open, and out stepped a man in khakis, aviator shades, and a clipboard that looked like it meant business. "Morning," he said. "I'm Mark Thompson, County Agricultural Compliance." Before I could answer, she appeared again, Karen, wearing a bright pink visor, clutching her phone like a trophy. "That's him! That's the man disturbing the peace and turning this neighborhood into a farm." Mark gave me a polite but firm look. "Sir, we received several complaints about noise, unauthorized farming, and livestock." I wiped the sweat from my forehead and nodded toward the small pen where my hens pecked happily. "You mean those livestock? They're just laying eggs, not plotting an uprising." He cracked a smile. "Mind if I take a look around?" Karen followed us like a detective in a soap opera, pointing at everything. "See that? He's plowing. That's not allowed. Look at that dirt pile. Oh, and the rooster. The rooster screams every morning." I turned to her. "Karen, that rooster is me. I just like to start early." Mark laughed out loud, but he stayed professional. He inspected the soil, checked the noise readings from my tractor, and took photos of the garden. After about 20 minutes, he closed his clipboard. "Well, ma'am," he said, turning to Karen, "everything here looks perfectly legal." Karen's mouth dropped open like she'd just swallowed a fly. "Legal? He's running a farm in a residential area." Mark shrugged. "Technically, this property falls on the edge of the rural boundary. The county allows small-scale agricultural use. Honestly, I'm impressed. He's got clean irrigation lines, compost management, and those hens are properly tagged." I couldn't resist a smirk. "You hear that, Karen? I'm not breaking rules. I'm following them." But Karen wasn't done. "I'll go higher," she hissed. "If the county won't stop him, I'll take it to the media." And that's exactly what she did. 2 days later, a local news van rolled up. A reporter stepped out with a mic, smiling like she'd found her next viral story. "So you're the man behind the neighborhood farm feud?" That's when I realized. What started? as a small argument over tractor noise was about to explode across every screen in the county. And the next thing I knew, my backyard was swarming with cameras and chickens who refused to stay quiet. By Wednesday afternoon, my driveway looked like a press conference. News vans lined the street, cameras aimed at my little red barn shed, and curious neighbors peeked from behind their fences. I stood there, bewildered, as a reporter fixed her mic and said, "We're here in Willow Creek Estates, where one man's tractor has divided a community." Behind her, Karen stood with her arms crossed, smirking like she'd already won. She clearly thought this would humiliate me. She wanted the world to see a rule-breaking farmer disturbing the peace. But what she didn't realize was that America loves an underdog. When the cameras rolled, I didn't rant. I smiled and told my story. I grew up farming. When I moved here, I wanted to bring a little bit of that spirit back. Teach local kids about growing food, caring for animals, and respecting the land. The tractor? That's just part of it. The reporter's eyebrows shot up. "So this is more than just a hobby?" "Oh, definitely," I said. "Last summer we donated fresh produce to the local food bank. This year I'm expanding it into a community garden." That was the moment the tone shifted. The cameraman smiled. The reporter nodded approvingly. Even a few neighbors clapped from their lawns. Karen's smirk faded faster than ice cream on asphalt. The segment aired that evening, titled "The Neighborhood Farmer Giving Back." Within hours, my phone blew up. Messages from people offering to volunteer, teachers asking if they could bring students to visit, and even a few sponsors wanting to donate tools and seeds. The next morning, my little backyard farm wasn't a nuisance anymore. It was local news gold. Karen, on the other hand, was fuming. I saw her pacing her driveway, phone glued to her ear, probably calling every board member she knew. She tried one last desperate move, posting in the neighborhood Facebook group. Her post read, "We must stop this man before he turns our community into a farmyard." "It's embarrassing." Big mistake. The comments section exploded. Neighbors defending me, posting pictures of my veggies, even sharing my story link. Someone wrote, "At least he's growing food, not problems." That one got 300 likes. By the end of the week, people were calling me Farmer Jake, and kids waved when I drove the tractor down the street. What Karen started as a campaign to destroy my reputation had somehow turned me into the local hero. But fate wasn't done yet, because what came next would make everything explode on a statewide level. A few weeks later, just when I thought the excitement had finally died down, a letter arrived in my mailbox. It was stamped with the seal of the County Department of Agriculture. For a second, my heart sank. Great, I thought. Karen must have finally found a way to shut me down. But when I opened it, I nearly dropped it right there on the porch. It read, "Dear Mr. Jacobs, you have been nominated and selected for the county's Local Agricultural Achievement Award, also known as Farmer of the Year. Your dedication to sustainable practices and community outreach has inspired residents across the county." I stood frozen, letter in hand, rereading it over and over. I could already picture Karen's face. The ceremony was scheduled for the following Saturday at the county fairgrounds. News channels, community leaders, even the mayor were attending. When I arrived, the crowd cheered, holding little Farmer Jake signs and wearing shirts with tiny tractors on them. I couldn't believe it. And then I saw her. Karen. She was standing in the second row, sunglasses on, clutching her purse like it owed her money. She must have come to see if it was true. Or maybe just to make sure. I didn't get away with it. The announcer stepped to the mic. This year's Farmer of the Year goes to Jake Harper of Willow Creek Estates, proof that farming spirit can thrive anywhere, even in the suburbs. The audience erupted. I walked on stage, shaking hands with the county commissioner, and accepted a golden plaque shaped like a tractor wheel. Karen's jaw dropped. The cameras caught everything. Her stunned expression became a meme before sunset. Someone even captioned it, "When you report your neighbor and he wins an award instead." After the ceremony, people congratulated me, took photos, and even signed up for my backyard agriculture workshop. I was speechless. What began as a feud had turned into something beautiful. A movement. As I loaded my plaque into the truck, Karen approached slowly. "Jake," she said, her voice lower than usual. "I didn't expect this." I smiled. "Neither did I, Karen. But hey, you kind of made it happen." She blinked. "What do you mean?" I held up the plaque. "If you hadn't reported me, none of this would have happened. So, thanks for the noise complaint." For the first time ever, Karen didn't have a comeback. She just turned, sighed, and walked away, defeated by irony itself. As I climbed onto my tractor that evening, the sun setting behind me, I couldn't help but laugh. Sometimes, the loudest noise in life turns out to be the sound of karma working perfectly. So yeah, sometimes the person trying to bring you down ends up being the reason you rise higher. Life's got a funny way of turning noise into applause, doesn't it? If you enjoyed this story from the world of HOA drama and suburban chaos, make sure to stick around for more real, unbelievable tales like this one. Hit that subscribe button if you love a good mix of karma, community, and a dash of chaos. And hey, drop a comment below. What would you have done if your neighbor reported your tractor? Beat pause. This is Karen Diaries, where every HOA story starts with trouble and ends with poetic justice.